Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
Welcome to episode 4 of season 2.
Or episode 26 if you're keeping count.
What's going on? You weren't prepared for that question in the slightest.
When am I ever prepared for that question?
Maybe you should start being prepared for that question, because I ask it all the time.
You know, you would think I would learn, but no, I don't think I'm going to learn. What am I doing? I'm decidedly not playing Disney Infinity. I'm not getting bought up into the hype like some people I know.
Well, it's fun. I just don't want every single little toy. I mean, some people like to collect it, and the only one I wanted was Barbossa. I can't stand cars.
Uh-huh.
And I would really rather not touch the Lone Ranger either. And then all the other figures, including Barbossa, really, are all from the starting pack's worlds. So no other toys are going to help me unlock new worlds except for cars and the Lone Ranger, and I don't want them, so I just play what I got.
Alright. That's good for you. I'm just not going to play it.
You don't have to. I'm not
going to.
Okay, then don't. I'm
Alright,
on with the PS3 anyway. You don't have any consoles.
That is not true. I've got a PSP. And a DS.
Okay, you've got a portable system.
I've got 2 portable systems.
Alright.
And my laptop.
That's not a console.
Still plays games.
Yeah, when you choose to play games. All the games you play are social network games.
Those are not the only games I play.
Those are the only games you play.
Hey, Marvel Ultimate Whatever on Facebook is a serious game for serious people trying to waste some serious time.
Oh, it's a serious time waster, alright.
You dang right it is. So you gonna join my flight deck?
No!
Then we have nothing more to discuss.
Well, why don't we talk about the things that
we have nothing more to discuss.
We have at least 3 topics to discuss.
Okay, fine. We will discuss that.
Okay. Enough of you talk to me about it. Okay, fine. We're gonna talk about it. Yes, it is true. Hayao Miyazaki is going to retire from making movies. Alright, we're going to discuss that here in a little bit.
I'm going to be talking about the recent unveiling, and now there's a trailer, there's stills out for the new anime called Space Dandy from Shinichiro Watanabe, the guy who brought you Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
And together we're talking about Mighty Number 9. I know everybody's excited about this because we got Inafune behind it, and he's the dude who made Mega Man, and considering Capcom treated Mega Man like crap in recent years, well, you should all like this story.
And if not, well,
then
get with it, act like you want it.
And if not, then you probably work for Capcom, and shame on you.
Yes, shame on you for working for Capcom.
That having been said, we have any sort of follow-ups to any previous stories or discussions?
Well, thankfully this week we do. The follow-up's going to go ahead and deal with my topic from last week, Kamen Rider Gaim. As we were saying in that segment, we weren't sure what the tone of the series was going to be. We're very iffy about that.
Yeah, because it's like, as we discussed before, it's trying to mesh at least 3 different ludicrous things all together, all at the same time, and yet this trailer looked fairly serious, and so I was really confused.
Well, since then, there's been an interview with the head writer of the series, Gen Urobuchi, who some people would know wrote Madoka, and everybody knows how that took this cute little concept of magical girls and then kind of made it a lot darker and serious.
I mean, it wasn't something that I didn't see coming, but yeah, I'll give it that it was not the same magical girl series that you always know.
Well, in this recent interview, he said that he's going to make several changes to this series in terms of the way Rider series have been going the last couple of years. One of the notable things here that he mentions is that the sort of 2-episode story arc format that they kind of adapted around Den-O to the present, he's going to do away with that.
Oh, thank God. That was really irritating. I like just single bite-sized episodes, you know?
Yeah. And along those lines, he's also going to, and I quote here, he wants to go back to the feel that Kuga through Faiz had, which were the first 4 installments of this current era of Kamen Riders. And these were a lot more I guess, serious in tone, a little bit darker.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this is
those
nothing
were
but good news.
to me.
Yes, those are some of my favorites, especially Kuga. I liked the dramatic aspect of Faiz, but more so Kuga and Agito out of those group were definitely some of my... They were at least in my top 5. So to hear that this guy wants to harken back to some old school feel, or I guess what counts now as old school feel.
It's unfortunate that we have to call that old school.
Well, because you think about it, Kuga premiered back in 2000. It's already, 2013. That's a ways ago.
A whole 13 years ago.
Well, yeah, a kid who would have seen it then could feasibly be working for the show now. Along those lines, the actor Gakusano, who's playing Gaim, said he grew up watching Kuga and wanted to be Kuga when he grew up, and now he's got the chance.
Well, that's cool.
So now we've got this. We've got a guy who grew up on Kuga and wanted to emulate that, playing the main role here, and a guy who wants to harken back to the times of Kuga. And of course, Kuga notably was the last series in this current era that had any sort of influence by the original creator, Shotaro Ishinomori, before his passing. So anything that has some sort of a root in that, in Ishinomori's original work, I'm happy to support.
Okay.
But again, I will wait to see how this goes once it debuts in October.
Yeah, it's something that I would definitely be interested in checking out, more so than the last 2 years worth of show titles.
Right. But, like I said, once October rolls around, we'll know for sure how this plays out.
Alright, awesome. Anything else before we get started with the real news?
There's a cat right to my...
Okay,
right.
Obviously you have nothing.
What? I just talked about this. You asked if I had anything else. I say there's a cat.
Well, I'm gonna get down to serious business, because lots of people decided to inform me that this was serious business. Believe me, I already knew about this story.
Yeah, we were on top of it.
But it's okay. We're all excited and not necessarily in a happy way.
It's the nice thing that this week all of our stories kind of presented themselves.
It was a pretty decent news week, I'm not gonna lie.
And arguably, all of these things are pretty big news in their own right. This, though, affects a lot of people.
Yeah, this is probably the most widespread out of any.
Yes.
And I'm specifically currently looking at Anime News Network reporting about Hayao Miyazaki's announced retirement. He himself did not announce his retirement. It was actually... the president of Studio Ghibli, Koji Hoshino, who made the announcement this past Sunday. And now, apparently, there was just news today that Miyazaki himself will live stream a press conference on Nico Nico Doga, also with English audio. I assume there's going to be an English interpreter, translator. Tomorrow, of course, I mean... Tomorrow could mean anything to you guys on YouTube,
right.
But for us recording here on Thursday, it's on Friday at 2 p.m., which is also 1 a.m. EDT. So difficult for us English viewers, really. But
now the thing about this that I find, I guess, not necessarily odd is you kind of look at it the way I see it. Like, for a while now, and this is just a comparison, I've seen this Life magazine that had Jack Nicholson on the cover for, the last 2 months straight.
Uh-huh.
And then we have this announcement of him retiring from acting.
I assume that I assume that Life knew that he was going to retire, and they just couldn't say anything, but they were like, we want to get on this right now.
Well, quite similarly, his most recent feature, and I'm talking about Miyazaki, his most recent feature, The Wind Rises, has been #1 for 7 weeks in the box office over in Japan, and has made almost about, if I'm not mistaken, 90 million US. That's nothing to scoff at.
That's pretty impressive.
Especially considering, the Japanese box office.
Mm-hmm.
You got to deal with all these other foreign movies coming in, like World War Z, Monsters University, but then this movie comes along and just blows them away.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
that movie,
it's an example of him coming out on top.
Disney,
ending with a bang, so to speak.
And Disney and Touchstone, they did announce that they will release The Wind Rises with an English dub. And I'm trying to see if they have anybody. No, they don't have anybody in particular, any names on that English dub just yet, but...
Well, if there's one thing you can always give a Miyazaki movie is that they always get top-of-the-line actors to voice in their movies.
At the same time, it's like, there's a difference between getting an actor to voice act and getting a voice actor to voice act. Because, yeah, you get really good actors in these movies, but at the same time, it's like, well, they know how to act in front of a camera. There's something entirely different when you have to act with nothing but your voice. And I don't think a lot of actors necessarily know how to do that. And I have noticed it in Miyazaki movies dubbed over into English by Disney. Like, they're good, but it's like...
Well, it's certain voices that stand out. And I think in specific, I'll reference Howl's Moving Castle. Howl, who was played by Christian Bale, or I should say voiced by Christian Bale over here, he did a fair enough performance with the role because it's kind of flat.
Yeah.
Versus, say, Billy Crystal as Calcifer, and he just kind of comes to life in that role. Well,
Billy Crystal is a very lively sort of person. That's the kind of actor that can definitely transcend mediums.
Yes.
But not every actor can do that. You can get a very serious actor, but then all they can do is, like, this one shoehorned kind of...
What, like Liam Neeson as Ponyo's dad?
Oh, he was so boring. He was so boring to listen to. I couldn't stand it. That's what I'm saying. Or, to go in a different direction, not with Miyazaki movies, Astro Boy, you get, the professor, Astro's dad, who's played by Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yeah.
Really not
Well, that was
good.
just bad casting.
Well, I mean, Nicolas Cage, yeah, he's done quite a lot of slop, but at the same time, he's had his moments. There are not many.
He's had moments. Most of them involve bees.
Yeah, I was about to say, bees! And, what's that iguana doing here?
Okay, let's do it. Here we go.
Or the second, shoot, why am I blanking on name of movie that they fixed after he was bad in first one?
Oh, Ghost Rider?
Yeah, kind of fixed. I mean, not perfectly, but the faces that he can make while riding a motorcycle. Like, that's the problem. In an animated movie, he can't make those ridiculous faces. So...
You're just stuck with his voice.
Yeah, and I don't even know how he was in The Croods, but I just kind of saw the same thing I saw in Astro Boy in the trailers. So, man, this is going way away from Miyazaki now.
Well, long story short, you know, it's sad to hear that he's retiring. This man has done such prolific work in his career that, you know, yeah, he's got The Wind Rises, you know, #1 over there. What else could he do and still feasibly be able to do it?
Well, he's 72. And, you know, I think everyone was waiting, like he's really getting up in age. He's going to have to stop at some point. And that's the point of this upcoming stream, which... Perhaps by the time this gets uploaded on YouTube, it will have already happened and you guys will already have the answer. But that's part of what the stream is about. It's about explaining why he's retiring. We don't know what that reason may be. It could be a health issue. It could be that he is just too old and he just can't keep up anymore. It could be any number of things.
He could be opening a chain of chicken restaurants, for all we know. And he wants to devote his time to that.
I somehow doubt that, but, you know, anything is possible. Yeah, of course it's sad. His work is really a testament of time, too.
I
stuff
remember...
is timeless.
And it's not just timeless, it's that, especially with, you know, the help of the dubbing, it transcends, you know, or maybe not so much with the case of The Wind Rises when it gets here, since that's a very nationalist movie, but with a lot of his movies, it transcends culture, too, like...
Well, the thing about a movie such as The Wind Rises is that, especially because we know it's going to come over here, it also gives a chance to show an international audience, hey, this is what our culture is like, this is what was important to us, maybe even still is important to us, here, this is how you can understand through this piece of art. It kind of went the same way with Grave of the Fireflies. Now, granted, he didn't work on Grave of the Fireflies, but it was a Studio Ghibli movie, and thus it looked very similar, both stylistically and in character design and whatnot. It happens like right at the tail end of World War II, and then the war ends, and you see what's important to people and how people's lives were left in shambles. And I recall talking to friends who had shared that movie with other people who still had this really bad, long-lasting image of Japan all these years after World War II. And then they sit down and they watch Grave of the Fireflies, and they were just like, man, I was just sobbing. I will never think of Japan the same way ever again. I get the feeling that that's what The Wind Rises is going to be like too. Like, it's going to give people who maybe might not have understood this other culture, it's going to give them a chance to sit in the middle of it and understand why certain things are important to a different culture of different people. Well,
yeah, because you think about it, comparing cultures at the time, nobody cared about, I mean, I guess coming from an American aspect, nobody cared about anything having to do with Japanese culture. It was just an us versus them. They shot first, we shot back. Simple as that. But things not all the time are that simple, and I think
because these are, for the most part, it wasn't the people coming after us. These are people just like anybody else, and so the effects that they felt at any given moment in time, while we're sitting over here in our own country concerned with our own business, they had their own concerns too that we just didn't even understand, couldn't have understood.
And it's the thing that he uses this art form, animation, to be able to convey these stories, these characters.
A number of stories having already been told, either through novelization or what have you, and oftentimes not even translated for us, for our sake, sometimes coming from English language things. But this now does give it a whole new medium for a whole new international audience who might not have ever known of the story's existence before.
And I think that's a good thing too, but also, not just talking about The Wind Rises, but also talking about just his work in general. I mean, obviously, ever since this announcement was made, it was noted here on the site that rentals and sales of all Miyazaki films have gone through the roof since that happened. And I guess, yeah, since this is all that we're going to get, it's about novel time to stock up on your Miyazaki movies if you haven't seen them yet, or you're still looking to finish your collection.
Did we hear something about, Miyazaki rentals, going through the roof?
Yes, as soon as the announcement was made, a chain of rental stores there in Japan noted a very large spike in the rental of his movies. And then even, I believe they mentioned there that a television channel over there in Japan that was going to air X-Men Origins Wolverine bumped that with less than a week's notice to air Porco Rosso. I always say that backwards when I'm thinking too fast. But yes, they bumped Wolverine to put that in. And I don't think that's a bad decision.
I don't think that's a bad decision either. That having been said, apparently the film Rises is an Oscar qualifier.
The film Rises?
The film Rises. Excuse me, I'm looking at the word film. The Wind Rises is an Oscar qualifier.
You think they'll give it to him because of the fact that this is his last one?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know how much bias there may be. I mean, I don't know how much, there's Oscars for pieces of animation, and yet I just sort of get this feeling like they probably still don't really care about animation one way or the other. It's the Oscars, and who really treats animation like real film, except for people who love animation? It's really unfortunate. What guy?
Like Miyazaki, he treats it as film.
Of course he does.
And I believe that needs to be rewarded. Well, I look at it this way. You know how with the Lord of the Rings movies, there are all these great performances, but it wasn't until Return of the King that anybody got nominated for anything?
Yeah.
Or until they actually won something? I kind of see that going with this.
Because I think it's sort of similar in that I think fantasy was highly shafted because it wasn't necessarily popular, because it's the geeky thing to go after, or because it was so heavy CG. for any number of those reasons, because as if CG can't turn something into a story. Like, you can't tell a story through CG or through animation or any number of other ways. It's just another medium for telling a story. That's all there is to it. I would hope that we could give someone appreciation for that.
Well, I mean, if he was able to win the Oscar for Howl's Moving Castle, he's already done it once. He can do it again.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. I would hope that he could get that sort of international recognition, just in time for him to wrap up his career.
I mean, if he's really going to go out on top, that would be a nice little, cherry on top would be to get something for The Wind Rises.
That or, a Lifetime Achievement Award, maybe?
Well, somebody should give him something.
I'm sure
Gold
someone
watch.
will.
Where's the retirement gold watch?
Someone will give him something. I can just about guarantee it.
And, I think about it, I didn't realize, there's so many things you realize you saw as a kid that you didn't know were anime or from Japan.
Sure.
I didn't realize, growing up, I watched Kiki's Delivery Service back on the Disney Channel.
I watched Totoro and I didn't know.
And I didn't know.
I just
knew there was something different about the way this story was told visually, and it stuck with me.
Mm-hmm. I also remember old box art for both of those, where kind of similar to something that ties to our next topic a little bit. Box art from Japan looking different from North American box art. I specifically remember Totoro's being redrawn to look more round, smooth-edged, and
I think
shaded
I remember
differently. It looked more like
was it a clamshell?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I think I remember
It looked more like
this.
a quote-unquote cartoon,
Yeah.
As if to say, hey kids, look at this thing about these little kids' best new friend. He's fuzzy and he floats around and he's adorable and it's for kids. And it kind of was, yeah. It was a sweet story, but, you don't have to Americanize the box art that hard. I mean, I guess they figured that no one would pay attention if they thought it was from Japan, but luckily we live in an age where that's not so much the case anymore.
Yeah. And now, we can get, things like that over here a lot easier. There's not as much stigma.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure I go on record as saying child Kirsten Dunst was a great actress. Child Kirsten Dunst.
Alright, whatever you say.
I'm just saying, there are few performances that stand out a little more than others in these movies. Of course, Princess Mononoke, I remember watching that in high school and being like, wow, where's the level of animation to meet up with this?
Oh yeah.
Because I had never seen something so, and I think you can say this about a lot of his movies, something so rich.
Yeah.
There's a richness to it that you can't deny. You can show those movies to anybody and they have to admit, yeah, that's some good storytelling. Those are real characters. That's some...
Sometimes it takes some pushing for some people to even take notice at first, but once they do take notice, they've taken notice.
And the good thing is most of these movies now are available to watch or rent, so you can share this with other people. And I honestly think, us in particular, we need to go ahead and get on that and pick up the rest of these movies, since now they will be, I guess, essentially collector's items.
Oh, yeah, but at the same time, it's Disney publishing it, so,
so they could throw it in the vault at their beck and call.
Oh, shoot.
You forgot about the vault,
I forgot about the Disney vault. I did. I'm not gonna lie to you. I forgot about the vault. Shoot. Okay.
All the more reason.
All right.
To go get the movies.
All right.
All right. All right.
I think I've driven this into the ground.
Okay, so yes, when it comes out, people go watch The Wind Rises. You'll probably learn something.
Woo!
Okay, so moving on to actually other anime news. As I said at the top of the show, a new trailer, or actually the first trailer, I should say, for this new anime called Space Dandy premiered. And as I said, it's brought to you by the same guy who brought you Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, Mr. Shinichiro Watanabe, who has actually, if I'm not mistaken, he's made trips here most recently to Otakon.
Oh, that's true. He did do that, huh?
Yeah, and now we get to see this new project of his. Granted, the news had been out for a while, but the trailer had just recently come out. And this thing looks very... I don't want to say tongue-in-cheek, but it's definitely got some of those comedic elements that you would recognize from some of the previous works of his. You know, the comedic elements in Champloo, in Cowboy Bebop.
Of course, those were not to... That's not to say that those were straight-up comedic anime titles.
Oh, no, by no means.
I'm not seeing in this trailer anything that jumps out as being incredibly serious just yet. I bet it will be, but at the same time...
It's kind of hard to deny when, quite literally, this trailer is throwing boobies in your face.
Including the word, written in English, boobies. And butts. Then there's some butts. And a lot of weird aliens, and...
Yes, I guess we'll go ahead and talk about this cast of characters we've got here. We've got 3 primary characters, the first of which being our title character, Dandy. Reading, of course, from Anime News Network here, Dandy is a human male who works as an alien hunter. His age is unclear, but he is most likely in his late 20s. He does not care about little things and believes that his dream is somewhere in the world. So we got a kind of adventurous guy here.
Somewhere in the world? Because he's a space guy. Which world is he talking about?
Could
exactly?
be any world. And that's why he's got to go look. Now, interesting to note here, this guy is very... I believe the style they refer to over in Japan is the Yankee look. You know, he's got the slicked back pompadour, you know, kind of a Letterman jacket on, and I didn't realize until you brought this up to me last week how prevalent this look is over there in certain parts of the country.
Yeah, specifically, like, you were sitting there going, oh no, they based this off of Forza, and I'm like, no,
well, admittedly, there's a bit of a similarity there.
Well, yeah, but...
But then you took it a step further.
But the truth is, the look is very, very... it's a popular look, and I'm sure Forza didn't just invent it.
Oh, no, he didn't invent it.
Because it's... I showed you, and you guys can go look this up on YouTube, too. Go look up, like, Yo-Yogi Park Rockabillys.
Yeah.
Okay? This, Yo-Yogi Park is very near, like, within walking distance of Harajuku. And I would see this frequently while I was over there, and it happens, like, every weekend, just about.
Like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe this existed until you showed me.
There's just, like... 50s style rock music playing. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but it is American 50s style rock music.
Kind of a rockabilly feel, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be directly from the 50s, but it's that kind of style. And then just people. Tons and tons of people in a big old circle, dressed very rockabilly, very Yankee, with pompadours, greased back hair.
Like, think the Fonz from Happy Days.
Yeah, friggin' Fonz from Happy Days. All these Japanese Fonzes, okay,
and
dancing around,
skanking pretty much.
Twisting their hips and kicking up their feet, and they're not really dancing with each other. They're just dancing.
But they look like they're having a blast.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun, but it's weird.
Yeah, well, apparently this is the style that this main character is kind of modeled after.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, well, that's him for starters. Following that, he has his robot sidekick, QT. QT says that he is high-powered, but he's actually just a bucket of bolts. He's very serious, and his pride is kind of big. He likes tidiness. Well,
yeah, okay. That makes sense for, like, a robot to want to be tidy. A robot vacuum cleaner.
Well, robot with a stick up his butt. That's worked since Star Wars. Why wouldn't it work here?
Well, this one's definitely fatter than C-3PO.
I believe they also had a comment here about QT in specific, is that, Watanabe says that Dandy bought the robot thinking that it was R2-D2-like, but in reality it's just a Roomba. So he thinks he's Star Wars level, but really he's just, that little whirring thing on the floor that's cleaning up after you.
And that likes to ride, that cats like to ride.
Yes, and funny you should mention a cat, because the third cast member...
Does he like to ride the vacuum cleaner robot?
The third cast member is a dimwit alien named Meow, who looks like a cat. He's not a cat, actually. He's an alien that lives on the star Betelgeuse. He's very carefree and was raised with no constraints. He already knows how to use a cell phone.
Well, that's good. It's important to know how to use a cell phone in space. I would
guess.
imagine. I mean, I don't know what sort of communication system space cats would use.
Well, at least they don't show that he's lazy. That's good.
Cats are only lazy 2/3 of the time. Only ever 2/3 of the time.
And the 1/3 that's left over?
They run around and knock things over.
So this cat thing will run around and knock things over on the spaceship?
Entirely possible. Don't you think he looks capable of that? I do.
Well, yeah, there's a little bit of him running around with Dandy here.
He looks pretty capable of just knocking crap over and being a nuisance. And then, really, probably being the bane of the robot's existence, because the robot's going to have to clean up after him. There, I told you how this story's going to work.
Well, no, you figured out the character dynamics. We don't necessarily know where they're going to go with this.
We know exactly where it's going to go with this, and it's messy. To a litter box. That's exactly where this is going to end up.
Well, this whole series is going to be about a little guy, making a mess. From the end of the trailer, they describe this. No joke, this is in English in the trailer.
Well, that's because the Japanese don't know English very well.
But then again, this is really it. Space Dandy is a dandy guy in the space.
Not just space.
The space.
Oh man, I want to know about this dandy guy from the space. In the space.
Now,
the space.
Now,
within the space. Around the space.
Eyes on the space. Always on the space. And that's the thing.
The space cowboy.
Well, space fawns. Yeah, okay, space fawns. That's another
way. Space fawns.
That's another way of looking at this. Space fawns. And we've got a couple of what look like starship battles and ports for him to travel to, and all these different kinds of styled aliens. So definitely this seems to have a higher comedic content than the other ones from the offset, whereas with Cowboy Bebop, if you watch any of those trailers, you could tell, okay, there's a lot of action and some serious stuff. For Champloo, okay, there's a lot of hip-hop in here with some, samurai moves thrown about.
Uh-huh.
Whereas here, they seem to be going straight out for kind of a ridiculous vibe.
You know what? I'm alright with that. If he wants to go ridiculous, that is okay with me. Wait a minute. Come to think of it, did Watanabe also do Golden Boy?
No, he did not do Golden Boy.
Somebody from Cowboy Bebop is associated with Golden Boy. I'm telling you. That is the truth.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
That is the truth.
Whatever.
Yeah, actually, talk about something else while I look that up.
Well, they are noting that this is the first purely comedic series that Watanabe has done. I mean, his last one, as I understand, Kids on the Slope, was pretty serious. Do we have an air date? No, yes, this will premiere this coming January, so we've got some time to get ready for it. Hopefully they will, of course, well, I say of course, but I'm hoping they will simulcast this on, Crunchyroll or through some other site.
You think? I mean, it seems too high profile for Crunchyroll, if you ask me.
Well, more than likely, this thing will get distribution. Unfortunately, since Bandai... It's getting released through Bandai in Japan, and there was a registration over here with Bandai America. Well, Bandai America Inc. to be specific, but unfortunately, since Bandai's animation has pretty much gone under, it's kind of weird that some other company will get it when Bandai handled the two major titles that he did before this.
That's true.
And along those lines, both of those got dubs, got airplay over here on Adult Swim. So I wouldn't doubt that this would somewhere down the road get play on Adult Swim.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Thank God we have an Adult Swim that also has Toonami back now.
Right, so that it shouldn't be a problem. I very much am predicting, once Attack on Titan is done, this will be the next big thing. I'm calling it now.
You think so?
I'm definitely going to call that now.
You think we're going to see a ton of, like, space dandy, the dandy in the space cosplayers at upcoming anime conventions?
I think partially since you brought it up, maybe at the next AX, we'll see footage of a bunch of dandies in a circle with rockabilly music just skanking out in the middle of the convention floor.
That's entirely possible.
Only time will tell on that, but that's my guess. I'm going to put my money on that.
Alright. Hey!
Yay! Okay, so I guess moving on to our last topic, and it's something that nobody really expected, but thankfully we're getting more and more information about as time goes on. Mighty Number 9.
Heck yeah, we're getting info on Mighty Number 9.
Now,
the
if
info
you don't...
doesn't stop coming in about Mighty Number 9.
So
awesome.
Let's start from the beginning with this. Like, Kaylin, give us some backstory.
Mega Man!
Okay, some more backstory than just Mega Man.
Okay, Inafune! Okay, so the guy behind this right now is Inafune.
Kenji Inafune.
He's currently with Concept USA, or just Concept. The Kickstarter is being run through its US branch. Inafune created, he was behind tons of different Capcom titles, but most notably, he was the creator of the Mega Man series, or the Rockman series. And just, man, after all these years, like, we keep trying to get out Mega Man Legends 3, and then there's, like, MMOs that bite the dust, and just one thing after another. Capcom keeps going, hey, we're gonna make this thing. Nope. Hey, we're gonna make a whole new thing. Nope. And then they get fans all hyped and everything, and then they just cancel project after project. The fans get depressed. Inafune got depressed, and he quit. But it turns out he's got this other plan going on, right, with Mighty Number 9.
Now, see, that's the brilliant thing about it, is that Inafune finally gets to the point of, you know what, enough is enough. I hear what the fans are saying. I know what I feel on the inside is the right thing to do, is to give them a product that they want.
And
also,
it's something he loves himself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's passionate about it. He wants to be making a Mega Man game, and you can see that quite plainly in character designs and just all this art and information he gave us in the Kickstarter video. It's just amazing how much this is obviously a love song to the thing that he wishes he was making because he made it in the first place, but he can't.
Right. And the beautiful thing about this is, since this is its own IP, its own intellectual property, Capcom can't say a dang thing.
I had heard from one person, granted it was just the one person, and maybe there is proof elsewhere, but I can't say for certain. Somebody was trying to tell me that Capcom themselves threw $10,000 into backing this. But I hadn't personally heard that. That got tweeted at me. I don't have a source for that. All I know is that Capcom was all like, gee, I sure wish there had been some fan support from Mega Man Legends 3. And it's like,
Capcom,
really?
go eat me. Really? Really?
Really?
You're gonna tell me, oh, I wish there was fan support. Really? You're gonna lie to my face and tell me there wasn't enough fan support.
Okay, so here's like the amazing thing, right?
Right. Okay, so yeah, Inafune starts this Kickstarter just a few days ago. You know, most Kickstarters, have about a month to go. He started this on August 31st.
And the goal was 900,000, is that right?
Yes, 900,000 was the original goal.
Like a day and a half tops passes. Okay?
A day and a half, people. Understand what we're talking about here.
It surpassed its goal in a day and a half. Right now, as we're recording this, there's still 26 days to go, and it's at over 1.5 million. Over 1.5 million when the goal was 900,000.
And 26 days to go, and people are still giving.
I get paid tomorrow. I will give. I will still give.
I'm going to go on record right now as saying, right now, as I'm recording this, I'm backing this project right now.
That's what I wanted to do because I thought I was going to get paid today. I was going to do exactly what you're doing, except I'm not getting paid today.
Well, somebody needs to do it.
Okay. I'm glad we had the same mindset, though.
No, because I wanted you guys to know that we believe in this project, too, because I'm one of those people that got disappointed that Mega Man Legends got canceled.
Yep.
As well as many other people I know, but you know what? Just like Inafune, enough is enough. This is the spiritual successor. Let's put the money where it needs to go.
So, like, this was just going to be digital, I'm sure, I believe.
Right.
It's intended to be a PC title initially. With enough backing, we can put this on Xbox and PS3 consoles, right?
Right. Currently, like we said, it's about 1 million, a little over 1,600,000. Now, if it reaches, I believe it's 2 million in funding, they will have this come out on multiple platforms, on Xbox 360, on the Wii U, on the PS3, and if that's not,
incentive enough.
Yeah, it's 2,200,000. They are well on their way to doing that.
Oh, absolutely. As it is, you can also get a physical copy of the game, because, just chipping in, you can just help to make this digital download of this game, but by chipping in enough, you can get your own hard copy of the game, which is fantastic. Who wouldn't want a physical copy of this game? It's what people were begging for Phoenix Wright, the new Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton, and all we're getting is a digital download.
Copy. But see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This guy knows what the fans want, and he is delivering.
Of course he does, because he's been, such a part of the community. And I don't know that much of the industry much cares about what the community thinks, just so long as they can see money in their hands. And I think also a lot of American companies are afraid. Larger American companies are afraid of releasing Japanese titles because they think Americans don't know it, can't understand it. Eastern and Westerners don't think alike, so they won't buy this game. I don't know what Capcom had been thinking. Well, Mega Man is easily the game for the hardcore gamers, and I think this was a generation where a whole bunch of developers just forgot that the hardcore gamers existed.
Exactly. And this even then is saying, hey, you guys remember? I remember too. I worked on it. This is just much for you as it is for me.
Yeah, it's
and you
still
look at
his
some of
love.
these prizes, well, not prizes, incentives that you get with signing on.
Yeah, list some of those off.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, some of these are pretty boss. Like signed art, like we said, a hard copy of the game, game manual, and this nice little dual box art, Japanese style and American style.
Yeah, because everybody knows, like what I was talking about before, people really kind of got behind the Western style box art for Mega Man, despite the fact that it looked nothing like what Mega Man actually looks like. There was just this insane difference between the two, because there is this mentality, much like what I was saying before, that, Westerners can't possibly understand Japanese ways of thinking, or their art style. They'll just think it's too weird, too foreign, too Japanese for Americans, and so they try and create these big old buff, in some cases kind of fat, Mega Mans. But then some people were like, this is stupid, but it's funny. So they would purchase the box art, they'd purchase t-shirts of the box art, and now it sounds like they're going to be doing something similar, because Inafune knows. He knows North America just latched onto it equally as hard as the Japanese audience did. He gets it. He totally gets it. Thus the reason why, like in the Kickstarter video, he puts on this American baseball cap, and
right.
He's working with American producers and developers, and going through a means like Kickstarter. Like, otherwise, I I don't know how many Japanese developers would be going through Kickstarter. If they would have to understand that a North American audience would want it.
And luckily, he's working with some heavy hitters too. Like the person doing the music, Manami Matsumae, she was responsible for the original soundtrack for Mega Man.
Absolutely.
And those songs are stuck in people's heads to this day.
Of course.
And now we're going to get something about equally, I would think equally as catchy too, because they have, now if you go to the Kickstarter, they have a little snippet of what I believe is going to be the main Mighty Number 9 theme. And really, it's just a piano right now.
It's just a piano interlude at this moment, but I can imagine it becoming so much more. Like, it's pretty just on its own. Definitely pretty just on its own, but I expect great things out of the soundtrack. And I had some arguments with some people over Twitter, and this is in regards to a lot of different developers who are already semi-famous as it is, but this argument of, we're giving millionaires money in order to create games. It's like, man, do you even know what it takes to create a work of art, to create a game, or a movie, or publish a novel, or... Because if you go through a studio, like Capcom, for example, then they're going to want to manhandle things and change things the way that they think is going to be best, and it's not the way that the creator thinks would actually be best. Obviously, going through Capcom didn't work because they thought what was best was just plain not doing it.
Well, because bottom line, when you think about it, any company you go through, the bottom line is the money. It's all about, getting your profits in.
It's usually not about, are we making a good product? It's not about...
Are we even making a product people want?
Are we making a product people want? Are we making a product that will make people happy? Usually, the company doesn't care. And you argue, like, we're giving millionaires money. Man, I would like some proof that Inafune's a millionaire. Because I don't think Inafune's a millionaire. He doesn't work for Capcom. I don't think... Like, when you leave a job, I don't think you get royalties from the game that you help make.
Not unless it was in your contract.
Like, you would have to be... I highly doubt he's seeing trickle-down revenue from Mega Man. I highly doubt that. I also highly doubt that, like, creators like Hironobu Sakaguchi are receiving trickle-down money from, like, Final Fantasy. Like, I doubt that. Nobuo Uematsu, though, like, he's still kind of partnered with Square Enix. They continue to use his music, and they have to ask him for permission to use certain tracks.
But again,
vice versa, he has to ask them permission to use certain tracks as well.
But see, that comes down to the contract. And bottom line, if you want to try and complain about that, we're giving millionaires money. Yeah, but I'm giving, whether or not he's a millionaire, just for the sake of argument, say he is. Yeah, I'm giving a millionaire money so he can make something we all care about.
Right.
Like, what?
I mean, I suppose what you could be asking for is for him to just make it entirely out of pocket. Which, even if he were a millionaire, is an insane risk. Risk. Like, he doesn't have the money to pay all these different people he's going to need to yeah, you need to buy equipment. You need to buy the technology. You need to spend money on a place where you're going to be developing this game. But all the other people need to get paid too. It's not just Inafune. I guarantee you all these other developers aren't millionaires.
Oh, of course not.
I tell you they're not millionaires. And what, they're going to do this project for free? And what's Inafune going to do? Just give these people money and then, like, the project, even if he were a millionaire, could run him broke. And then let's say it failed. Then you ran the man that you were praising so very, very much completely into the ground and ruined his career.
But thankfully, thanks to something like Kickstarter, we get to see this pool of people come together, the creators and the fans for this project, and it very much seems to be delivering on that same sort of gameplay that you loved from Mega Man, but at the same time they're touting some new elements that they're going to throw in here. And you look at the design of, this guy, Beck, our main character here, number 9. Yeah, let's not kid ourselves. He's based off, Mega Man.
Yeah, he definitely wants to be Mega Man without being Mega Man so as to be sued.
Right, but, you know, this still seems like a character I can get behind.
Oh, yeah.
Just like I could get behind Mega Man, I'm going to get behind
I think he looks
Beck.
fantastic. I think he looks really friggin' cool.
I'm not going to go out and say something blasphemous like I prefer this look, but I'm saying this look will definitely grow on me. I will want... Because you think about it, short-sighted, okay, it's this one game, but think about it. The way this game goes...
It's going to be a franchise.
This will become a franchise, I guarantee you that. Based off just the response this has gotten within 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't get responses like that hardly ever nowadays.
Impressed. I am so impressed with the way fans have backed it so readily. They're so passionate about it. It just goes to prove, like, Capcom's just been speaking out their ass, like, oh, if only there was fan support. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's fan support for stuff that matters. You're gonna jerk us around? No, forget you. We're gonna go where the heart is.
I really hope somebody, especially in Capcom's new media job department, like their social networking department, I really hope that somebody loses their job. I really hope somebody is like, man, somebody shut these guys up. They're ruining our image. Of course, if it's all of Capcom's opinion, that one thing that was stated on Twitter, then all of Capcom can go screw themselves too. I mean, granted, I like Monster Hunter, but really, come on!
Well, because you think about it, like, what does this say, not just in terms of a franchise, not just in terms of, you know, people who were spurned once now having hope again, what does this also say about other creators out there who now see this as an opportunity? Hey, if they could get this off the ground, what does this say for my, you know, passion project now?
Of course, I mean, this also, there is something to be said about how many Kickstarters go up and how many fail, or, sometimes there's people who take the money and run with it. Like, it happens. You do have to be careful, but, like, Inafune and his team have proof positive. They have almost more than proof of concept.
Right.
That they've got a project that they're working on and they're passionate about, and it's not going to go under, and this is going to be finished, and they're feeding us new information about it all the time. I say all the time as though...
Well, no, they've been giving updates just about every day.
I say all the time as though it's had a lot of time, but it hasn't. And even in the short span of time that they've had, they've been, constantly giving us updates every day.
Because
That's
you
impressive.
think about it, too. This didn't just pop out of thin air. Inafune had to have the idea, he had to talk to some people, they had to shoot that video of people probably already having to pay out of pocket.
It's an impressive video, too!
Yeah, people already had to put in their time and effort and money into this project to begin with, to even start to think about a Kickstarter.
Absolutely.
So somebody already had to put something into this, and now that is getting rewarded. And already in the few days that this has been out, there's more promise, more of a guarantee to this than anything Capcom's put out in the last few years.
Right?
I mean, that definitely... This should change something in the game industry.
It speaks volumes. Speaks volumes of what is capable in the industry. It speaks volumes about what fans are capable of, and how fans can feel rewarded and enthralled and engrossed and feel like they're part of a project, part of the creation of a project. Absolutely. The kind of rewards and incentives given in this Kickstarter definitely tell me they want the fans involved in the creation of the project. They're putting your number, you as a number, in the game if you give a certain amount. They're putting your voice in the closing theme if you give a certain amount. They're giving people a chance to help design levels if you give a certain amount.
Design villains, create challenges. I mean, it has never been so hands-on before than it has at this current moment for this project. And thankfully, I can say, as of right now, I've officially given to Mighty Number 9.
Heck yeah. Good job.
And I am dang proud of it.
Alright. I think that's a good place to stop because we're
Yes.
running low on time. That was a good, positive story.
Yeah. So
I like that story. Let's follow up on that story later.
Yeah, we're definitely going to give you guys an update as soon as we know a little bit more about what's going on. But yeah, once the time rolls around, I got my copy of Mighty Number 9 guaranteed.
Fantastic. Alright, that having been said, it's good to talk to you guys again.
Yeah, if you guys have any opinions about, the stuff we talked about, make sure to leave us a comment or hit us up on Twitter.
And I'm over at Twitter at MarsGirlProd.
And I'm at Josh Knight First.
And that having been said, thanks for listening to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims with us.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.